This is Duke University.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. And of course, students will probably be rolling in while we are going through the actual discussion and things like that. So I'll go ahead and get started because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So hello, everyone. Thank you all for attending this evening's Karsh Conversations, Navigating Self-Awareness for Career Clarity. The aim of this panel is to listen to alums about the different resources, strategies, and activities that they have used to establish their career clarity. So we hope that in this panel, you all gain insight on various ways that you can begin establishing or developing your career clarity during your time here at Duke. So we have 4 amazing alums here today, and also our student moderator, Shweta, who will be hosting this event. We'll get started, and we'll start with having our student moderator introduce themselves, and then we'll transition into the panelists' introductions, and then we'll begin diving into the conversation. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today and coming to this Karsh conversation. We really look forward to getting this discussion started and hoping that you all can learn or take something from this. So we'll begin. I'll let Shweta take over, and thank you again, Shweta.
Yeah, hi all. Thank you so much for this lovely evening. So I'm Shweta and I'm a graduate student. I'm doing my Master of Engineering Management here at Duke University, and I'm a second year student. So I'll be graduating in like a couple of weeks. So I'm pretty sure this event is going to be really, thank you. This event is really going to be helpful for each one of you because even I'm in my job search. So I guess I'm pretty sure this event will be really helpful for all the people who are looking for, like a clarity on their careers. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we can get into each of our panelists. You will all can introduce yourselves, kind of give a little bit of background, your degree, and I think, yeah, I would say background and degree, I would say.
I can get us started. Is that okay? Awesome, awesome. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be here with you all. I know it's not physically back, but I always love an opportunity to be back at Duke. My name is Hildan Haley Jesus. I use she, her pronouns. I am Duke class of 2018. I majored in I majored in sociology. I minored in German. I was pre-med for a good bit of my time, so we obviously can get into that later. I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia, and currently I work as a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant at a consulting firm called Elevate Solutions. And so I work in providing organizations and individuals with different DEI solutions, whether that's strategy development, building out trainings and workshops, executing those, or providing coaching to different chief diversity officers and leadership and kind of navigating the DEI space. So that's me. I'm excited to be here. I'll popcorn it over to Doreen since your mic is already on. All right.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Durini. I did my master's at Duke and graduated in 2019. I did the master's in environmental management program and shifted into corporate sustainability. I was an environmental consultant up in DC for a couple of years after I graduated. And then I moved back home to California and I'm based in Los Angeles now. I work for Mattel and I do corporate sustainability for them. Most of my focus is kind of the investor relations, reporting, and disclosure aspects. So I do a lot of scope 3 emissions planning, sustainability report writing. And yeah, we can get more into that later if anyone has questions. But yes, it's lovely to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Carrico. I graduated from Duke undergrad in 2018. I was a visual media studies major with a minor in theater and a focus in documentary studies, or a certificate in documentary studies. Now I'm working for sports media technology. We're based here in Durham. A little bit about what I do. My title is a marketing manager, but that does not really tell you much. I'm primarily working on client-facing marketing materials, RFPs, product branding, and then some more fun things like internal events and internal communications.
My name is Kevin Gessman. I was Duke class of 2019, studied mechanical engineering, and did the certificate in innovation and entrepreneurship. Also played on the football team. So tough loss this weekend, but Duke football's having a great year. After school, I actually started a company in the 3D printing space. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Protected. We make 3D printed braces, splints, pads in the sports space, but now growing into the healthcare space. So certainly took advantage of an incredible amount of resources coming out of the university setting. So always thankful for an opportunity to give back in any regard. So happy to be here tonight. We're based in Durham and have a growing team here. So local as well.
So I guess we're done with the introduction. Yes, okay, then thank you so much for sharing all your backgrounds. It's really impressive and good to be back. So I guess let's go on with the questions, if the introduction is done. So I have a lot of questions and I'll keep answering and you guys can take turns and feel free to answer them. So, okay, so to begin with, so the first question that I have is, can you describe your career journey and some key decision points along the way? Does anyone want to go first?
I think for me, a really key decision was deciding not to go to law school after taking a year after graduating, working at Duke's Public Policy School, studying for the LSAT, taking the LSAT, but also interviewing with my documentary studies background. It's kind of a reflex. Every single lawyer I could get to talk to me. And after doing that research, I came to the conclusion that that wasn't something I was going to be happy, particularly studying for the next, particularly 3 years. But as we all know, law, medicine, really any career, you're going to be lifelong learners. And that wasn't something I was truly passionate about. I think we can all speak to this a little bit, but something I always came back to was, why did I choose Duke in the first place? And especially when it comes back to mindfulness, that was a very thoughtful decision. And I think a lot of my core values went into it, and reminding myself of that mindset has helped me in every step of my career. Sticking with marketing, more creative things like technology, sports, and the art around it, which, as we all know, Duke has the AAA, arts, athletics, and academics, which is why a lot of students, I believe, are so attracted to the school in the first place.
No, absolutely. I believe that, every student should understand what they're really interested in, what their passion is, rather than just going with the traditional path. So that was really great. Thank you for sharing. And is there, next, anybody wants to go?
Yeah, I can hop in. Something kind of similar to Melissa. So I would say probably 2 key decision points, or maybe something closer to. One was choosing not to be pre-med after so thankfully, as you all know, at Duke, you don't have to declare your major until your sophomore, so the end of your sophomore year. And so I came in very much committed to pre-med, and I was taking all the classes and chem and bio and everything. And in addition to just obviously struggling a little bit because it's Duke in general, but I was doing fine, and I was like, okay, I am making it, but my heart wasn't in it. And what I did was have the opportunity to explore other courses. And so taking that Social 101 class was really a turning point for me, just because, a mentor took me aside and was like, okay, well, what do you spend all your free time on campus doing? And I'm spending it all my time reading articles, attending events that all have to do with sociological themed things, whether it's gender studies, whether it's race and culture, whether it's just looking at the workplace. And so using that as an opportunity to thankfully not have to change my major, because I never technically declared it. And so I just declared sociology. And then I would say also, once I was working, so I started working at the Mary Lou Williams Center, and then I worked in undergraduate admissions. And so I was an admissions officer for a couple of years. And from there, I thought I was kind of on this path of higher ed. And I shifted into what I consider now to be more of a corporate space in terms of doing DEI. And that came out of, a network, but it also just required me to try something different that I had pretty much no experience in. And so, yeah, I would say those were kind of two turning points for me career-wise.
Absolutely, like I totally get it. And thank you so much for sharing. So does anyone else want to share it, or we can move on to the next question?
Go. So I guess I had a couple as well. I did my undergraduate degree here in California at UC Santa Barbara, and I was an environmental studies major. And then I also did essentially a minor in business. We didn't call it business, but they were essentially like marketing, business related classes, entrepreneurship. And I kind of realized that my main major and this minor essentially that I was getting were polar opposites. It was learning all about how to take care of our planet and how to be a good steward to our environment. And then on the other hand, I was learning about how to, increase our bottom line and make as much money as possible. And they just seemed to be two really opposing forces. And so that's kind of what piqued my interest in corporate sustainability and figuring out how we can use some of the most powerful entities that we have to make change in our environment in a positive way. And so that's kind of what led me down the path. I did some research on what jobs were out there, and it looked like most of them preferred a master's degree when going into the corporate space. So I also decided to just go straight into my master's program at Duke rather than work for a few years or not get a master's degree, just because I knew like once I started making money, I definitely wasn't going to go back to school. So yeah, I would say those two kind of are what moved me in the direction that I ended up in.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess my story is more similar to yours as well. Just following the same path and specializing the same thing during my undergrad and master's. Thank you so much. And yes, okay. So can we like move on to the next question, and you guys can feel free to like answer them. So the second question is going to be, what resources did you turn to when you were initially exploring a lot of career options? Is there any specific resources that you guys want to suggest?
I can try to answer that. I think engaging with peers, some of the older students in my same major, and as an athlete on my sports team, certainly looked to them to where they were either applying, going through the interview process. But for me to tie this back to the first questions, some key decision points, I was interviewing at different jobs and looking into different career paths, but ultimately ended up making a decision to go sort of my own route and go into a startup entrepreneurial route. So what resources were available for that was incredible to just learn more about in the Duke setting, and had some specific mentors that really showed that was a possibility for a career path to really take what was a student project at the time and look into what the commercialization route of the technology straight out of the university setting would be. And so that led to my partner and I really turning down job opportunities, job offers to do this all on our own, and again stay close to Duke, and some of the resources here continue to help us in that journey. But that was certainly a critical piece to go after it on our end.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm someone like who's really interested in entrepreneurship, even though I haven't completely focused on it. But I just wanted to check with you, like Duke is really supportive and they have a lot of groups regarding entrepreneurship. So is there a specific resource here that you would recommend us, for the students who are interested?
Yeah, great question. I think Duke Innovation Entrepreneurship, Duke INE has great resources. Undergraduate certificate program that I did was awesome. And as an engineering major, it was a great non-quantitative class most semesters to balance out the curriculum a little bit there. And then engineering entrepreneurship has specific resources as well, including like the co-working space or the Duke CoLab, where they have maker spaces that you can do prototyping if it's a physical product. But yeah, there's some incredible resources available for tinkering with your own ideas and analyzing that route.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm pretty sure this will be helpful for all the budding entrepreneurs. And Next, does anyone want to share your resources that helped you guys?
Yeah. Well, Duke has endless resources, as you all probably know, or if you haven't already experienced them, folks are always telling you about them. But one, I would say, especially on East Campus, so I would start with the Academic Resource Center. I feel like the ARC, especially at the beginning, is really valuable, whether it's navigating course material and getting, having one-on-one mentors, or what is it? The people who you can have mentors for classes, or like study buddies and things like that. I would say also the Academic Resource Center is really helpful in just navigating on how to build your education style in undergrad, right? Like learning in high school is so different. You have probably varying levels of difficulty and experiences, but managing the university setting in a way where it's not all, it is about school. Obviously, you're here as a student first, but it's also about all these additional enriching experiences that you want to take advantage of, whether that's how do you build Duke Engage into your 4-year experience, how do you get study abroad as part of your undergraduate curriculum. And so I would say the ARC, and then of course the Career Center on so many fronts, whether that is things as simple as getting your resume reviewed, getting interview prep, but also even in building out your plan for what your career will look like. So really one of my best friends, she just finished optometry school, and now she's like working at Warby Parker and doing the full optometry thing. But when she started out as pre-med and pre-dental, and what was really helpful to her was sitting down with the Career Center and discussing, I have on one hand a balance in health and an interest in health and medicine. On the other hand, I have a desire to have a balanced life. Like she was very clear about that early on. She didn't want to be, Grey's Anatomy in the ER all hours of the night, right? Some people, that is their passion for medicine, and for her, that wasn't it. And so finding a career that balance that. And so in that list of discussions, one of the things that came up was optometry school. Is this something that you'd be interested in? Does this career align with the health and medicine interest? And so those resources, I would say, are incredibly valuable. I think the Career Center has more there than people realize. There's even support for alum once you graduate. And so definitely tapping in there. And then I would definitely second and echo the alum and your fellow students and your peers and staff on Duke's campus have been incredibly valuable to my career and my just undergraduate experience, whether it's illuminating information, sharing their own experience, guiding you in terms of things you haven't thought about. When you come to college, a lot of times we're set in our ways. We're a lot, the Duke student population is high achieving. And so you feel like you're already locked in. You don't have the opportunity to make changes. And that's just simply not true. This is the room and the space that you have to be curious. And so tapping into those networks, I would say, is a definite value to it.
Totally. I mean, the fact that you said, Career Center is really helpful. I can see it. Like, I don't think so. No, a lot of students can actually function without them. And thank you so much, people. So yes, does anyone else want to share like what resources have been helpful for you guys during your job search or your career?
I'd just like to second the alumni network, be it the Triangle or all the different Duke Inns, the Duke, a lot of my friends ended up on the West Coast after school, and I'm one of the few Dukies that's from Durham and stuck around. But the Duke Triangle Network has been just such a pleasure and a really nice constant as I've changed jobs but haven't changed location. They've been an excellent anchor and a great place to go for career advice, if not a connection. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. So do you guys want me to like go for the next question? Okay, yes. Okay. So this is a nice question. So were there any setbacks or challenges you encountered in your journey, and how did you overcome them?
I mean, I think for me, the pandemic, I was in San Francisco interviewing final round for a private equity job that I thought was going to be, the dream job. Was going to put me on my path. And I was there on site, and it went from an on-site interview to a virtual interview to we're on a hiring freeze for the foreseeable future. And I came back home to Durham with, kind of my tail between my legs. And you know, and you cope with it. And fortunately, I had a really strong support system here, both, you know, with my family, fortunately. And I mean, that happened to just be terrible timing for finding a new job and interviewing for new jobs. But I know the pandemic was a huge issue, I'm sure, for if not all of us, many of us. But it teaches you how to stay positive.
Pandemic gave us hard times, but it also, like, you know, we did learn a lot through that, a lot of things that none of us like experienced before. But yes, like, any other challenges in your life that you overcome?
Yeah, I would say a big one that I think a lot of us have felt lately is just the process for corporate jobs and hiring. Like, I was at my consulting firm, I was ready to move on, and it took me almost a full year before I could find this next job. And I think that's something I'm hearing from my peers a lot as well. I mean, Mattel was in a unique space in that we only had one person in our sustainability department when I was interviewing. So our chief sustainability officer was literally running a department all on her own and also trying to hire people. And so, you know, it took multiple months to go through 2 or 3 rounds of interviews, and processes now are just becoming really cumbersome and companies are taking a really long time. And I think it can just get really discouraging and feel like you're stuck basically where you are when companies are taking their time and their processes are really unreasonable. So yeah, it was just one of those times where I had to be like thankful that I had a job, even though I didn't like where I was. And, you know, just kind of like what Melissa was saying, like stay positive. And sometimes it's one of those things where it's just filling out applications and trying to talk to as many people as you can. And it might seem like it's going nowhere, but yeah, you also just like never know what's going on the other end. And it can be a lot, but yeah, just trying to focus on yourself and where your goal is and not get discouraged is definitely really important.
I guess that's a great advice for me and a lot of students who are still looking for jobs, and that's really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing your advice. Any other?
Definitely second the piece about the challenge with job search processes. I've been on interviews where I feel like I've been interviewing for 2 months and I've created work samples and this and that. And this is all for evaluation, right? And you get really far and you, well, sometimes you hear good news, sometimes you don't. Definitely that challenge. I would say one challenge for me has been, or at least in previous experiences, shifting into a new role, being really excited about it. And then after maybe a year or two, not in the sense of a pattern, but more so finding challenges in that new environment. And so, for example, especially around COVID, shifting to remote was kind of a real challenge for me. In the beginning, I was super into it. I didn't feel the effects, especially being an extrovert. I don't know if you can tell me trying to jump through the screen, but that was an initial challenge, but also feeling the experiences of my achievement differently, right? And so being in a space where maybe I no longer felt as competent as I had been in the past, and trying to figure out, is it the environment? Is it the way that I'm learning? Is it this industry is not for me? Is it having to shift, you know, teams, whatever that the case is? And in that process, learning to be reflective and critical of myself as well as my environment, so that you don't fall too hard on yourself, but also you're taking advantage and also taking charge of your journey, right? At the end of the day, no matter how many managers you have that love you and support you, it's still your career. You have to take charge of it. And so that process of, you know, when you come out of college, so much of that framing is scaffolded for you. It's set up. You kind of know what's next. You know what to expect, whether it's the next year or a summer internship or what have you. And when you're at the place where now this is kind of the beginning of forever, and it's really whatever you make it, it's a different mindset of realizing, right, like you're in charge, but also how to tap into your networks, how to take advantage, how to ask questions, how to accept when you're really struggling, and lean on people, and in the balance of all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally get it. And just one question. Are you comfortable with the remote setting now, or you still prefer to go work in the office?
I work 100% remote, but I'm really looking for a hybrid setup. I think what I need is that in between. I see the benefits of remote, so I'm not an advocate of taking away remote from the workplace. But for me, I definitely think hybrid would be ideal.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yes, absolutely. And is there anything else? Okay, cool. I'll just go forward with the next question. Okay, so this is a nice question. Looking back, like what advice would you give your younger self in terms of making career decisions?
I just take more advantage of all those Duke resources. You know, I wasn't an econ major, but they've got so many networking events, interviewing events. Like I didn't even know what consulting was until I came to Duke. And
Yeah,
meanwhile, now looking back, seeing all of the opportunities to learn about these different careers and see if the shoe fits. I think sometimes when you're at Duke, you feel like if you don't know what something is, you're already too late and you've missed the train. I felt that way, certainly. And I wish I had just said, well, blown caution to the wind and gone to all of those, in investment club things. And anyway. That's what I kick myself about. Don't be afraid to not know anything in the room and to learn from those there.
yeah, absolutely. Like I guess Duke has a lot of resources and which every student should make use of it, big time. And yes, thank you so much. Anyone else?
I would echo that. I think I would applaud all the students for being here tonight and listening to this, but the Career Center does have a tremendous amount of opportunities, so take advantage of them. I would have told myself to go do interview prep. It's not only a skill to help you get jobs, but it's a life skill of talking to people and putting yourself in that pressure situation, getting yourself out of your comfort zone. Again, as like a former athlete, it's very easy to have a conversation with somebody in the locker room or a teammate or somebody that sits beside you in class, but Duke is such a diverse place and you have a chance to meet so many incredible people.
Yeah,
I don't know, force myself to get involved with new things and different things.
Yeah, Duke has a very diverse background and we can like meet a lot of people and engage with a lot of people. That's true. Thank you. And anyone else?
I was going to add, don't just start doing it senior year. do it your sophomore year.
Yeah,
do it your junior year. Do it your freshman year. It's not too soon to start learning those skills.
Absolutely.
I would double echo what both Kevin and Melissa have said about being curious and pushing just going outside of your comfort zone, whether it's giving yourself a goal of doing one thing every semester that you're nervous or scared about, or just seems like, I think the real key piece is, the thing that where you feel like you have to know something before you try it. You feel like you have to be an expert before you get into it. And the one thing I would add is alumni. The alumni network is so vast, but especially when you're an undergrad, alumni are always on campus trying to host an event, have a conversation with you. A lot of them just don't know where to find you or how to follow up. And so if you just take that initiative of sending an email or saying, it was so great meeting you at this event, just connecting on LinkedIn, following up a couple of weeks later if you have a question, right? And that those are ways in which alumni really do want to be helpful to you. And they really want to engage. They just don't know what you need necessarily, right? Besides attending things like this. And so they're happy and willing resources for you. So take advantage of them.
Thank you so much. So I guess like I can go forward to the next question. So this is a very interesting question because I work in the front desk in the career center, and a lot of people, a lot of students, they just drop in and ask me just one question: where do I go look for jobs? So I'm just gonna frame like during your job search, like were there any particular platforms that you guys use, such as LinkedIn or some job search engines or any industry specific websites during your career exploration? Or where do you guys look for jobs is something that a lot of students wanted to know.
The
Right.
Career Center database. Do you guys still have that?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat it again?
Oh, the Career Center's database. You
Yes.
guys, I forget what it's called.
Oh,
I mean, like the alumni directory.
Not the alumni directory. It was like when I was there was this internal, like it,
handshake?
pardon me?
Handshake?
No, it was pre-handshake. And alumni could put, anyone else from 2018 remember this?
Is it Duke list? Is that what you're thinking?
Maybe, I don't know if it was the Duke list. It may be, you had to log in with your net ID. It was like
Yeah.
secret LinkedIn, and alumni would put jobs that their companies were hiring for on
I know
the
what you're
Career
talking about. I don't
Center.
think that was Duke list, but yes, you're right.
It was awesome. I think
Mhm.
every like internship and job I applied for, I found through that database. And it sounds like y'all have shifted to a new platform now, which makes sense because there's so many platforms for that now for colleges to use. So maybe that's the handshake now.
I guess so, maybe. But yeah, in Handshake, if I'm not wrong, there are a lot of job postings. But that'll be really great. I can go do some research on where the alumni are posting their jobs. So I will look into it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Any other suggestions where you guys look at postings? So
Mine's not very groundbreaking, but I've found all of my jobs on Indeed. The key is just to, when you find a job, apply on the company website. So I always just find a job that I'm interested in, go to the company site, apply. It's unfortunate to say that I have never found a job through networking. Sorry, I can't tell anyone that that was my secret. I just apply nonstop on Indeed, and that's pretty much how I found all my jobs. The only one that was different was my first job out of grad school. When I worked at ERM in DC, there were a lot of alumni from Duke at that firm who came to campus and did, like, the Career Center collected all of our resumes. They did on-site, on-campus interviewing, and that's how I found that job. But everything else has been just on Indeed.
yeah, career job fairs are really helpful. And we just had recently one, and a lot of big companies participated, and it was really great. And I did learn from a few people, like few grad students, that they did receive internship interview callbacks from what came during the career fair. And I guess that's definitely really, really helpful. Any other resources that you guys would recommend?
I would highlight the career fair and maybe share some advice with it, to research the companies prior to going, know who you want to talk to and know about the companies. So when you are able to have that engaging conversation, you've done your research, not just dropping a resume and walking away, and then how to follow up with people, sending emails and making yourself available and presentable. I think that's how you make impressions on folks for them to want to call you back and have that interview opportunity that you've prepared for.
Absolutely.
I would just add LinkedIn, and obviously like LinkedIn's kind of another obvious one, but a few things about LinkedIn. One, it's your network, right? But the other thing is, outside of LinkedIn jobs, searching the posts for actual jobs. And so a lot of times people will be posting because their company is hiring and they're not people with huge followings on LinkedIn. But if you're searching the post and you're using the right keywords, those searches will come up, and having that follow-up. And in addition to that, whenever you're doing your job search, if you do find a person of contact on the website, or you know who the recruiting person is, finding ways to be able to reach out and make that personal connection. Just because we all know, algorithms are a big part of the job search process. So you want to get out of the algorithm and in front of people's faces and in front of the recruiters, and also making sure that you have a well established LinkedIn with connections. All of that helps companies and jobs find you as well. They may not always be the roles you're looking for, but based on my previous roles, I have people that reach out, like LinkedIn recruiters. That's what they do all day, right? And so finding a way to have the jobs find you as well, if they happen to be in alignment with your career interests.
Absolutely. And just since the word networking was used, do you guys has anyone like made use of networking? Do you guys believe that, getting interview callbacks through networking or at least getting referrals work?
Did you say, do referrals work?
Yeah, I mean, like networking and getting an interview or getting referrals.
As someone who used to work as a recruiter at a boutique firm for consulting firms, KPMG, Deloitte, etc., referrals were huge.
Okay.
Absolutely huge. A lot of the roles we were placing were for director level and up, but especially lower. As a recruiter, if you have a referral, I mean, we can go into the math of people turnover, but knowing that you have someone from your company or from that company who will vouch for this person, that they're interested and they will respond. From a recruiter's point of view, that is amazing.
Really
And you'll definitely at least get a phone call if it's done properly.
Yeah.
Thank you so
One thing
much
I
for
would add
sharing it.
about one thing I would add about networking is also the ways in which you can be casually networking when it's not like a formal event. And so for me, the role that I'm in now, I got because a friend of mine from undergrad knew that I was interested in DEI and knew that I was interested in a shift and knew that I was looking. I'm not saying be the annoying person who's always talking about your career aspirations everywhere you go, but when those moments do open themselves up, being transparent or at least being direct about your interests and in a succinct way helps people know, oh, if something comes up in my company, I know that Alicia is looking to shift into HR, or I know that Melissa is looking to go into marketing, and that might be a way that someone will reach out to you, but that can only happen if you're positioning yourself in an open way with your networks, which is just anyone that you know.
Yes. Got it. Thank you so much, guys. And just wanted to check, like from the audience, from the people, like, do you guys have any questions that you want to ask the people? So I don't think so. Like we have any questions from the audience.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shweta, and to all the panelists. We definitely hope that this conversation at least starts to like spark that light for any students up here who are thinking about what career clarity may look like for them or look like for you. Also, as you all know, we are the Career Center, so we are here to assist you with that process whenever you need to. So definitely book an appointment with us if you feel that you may be still questioning about like what does my career journey look like for me? How do I market myself for that? How do I prepare myself for whatever industry or anything that may be? So of course, we have plenty of resources that can assist with the career development process. Of course, and we also have events that we host. If you go on our Career Hub page, you'll see a lot of our events that are posted for you to attend, like this one, any of the career fairs that we have in the future, and a bunch of great other programs where you can just learn from not only alums, but from each other, being able to learn from each other about how to begin that process of establishing and developing your career identity. So, after this event, of course, so for any of the students that have joined, we will be sending out an evaluation. It should take you probably about 2 to 3 minutes to complete, but we would love to hear feedback on, this program, and then so we can continue to bring forth future programs that are definitely a part of your interest and things like that. So you will find an email with that. And also within that email, we will have the contact information from all of our wonderful panelists. And I just want to thank and appreciate them for being able to join and just give some insight on, again, just the things that they have done to identify their career clarity. And as you've heard a lot of the stories, a lot of them were saying, maybe they started here and then they eventually transitioned here. So we always want students to understand and recognize that you don't have to have it all figured out. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help guide you in that process and assist you. You're not alone. So, for the students up here, We are in a new location. We are on the second floor of Bryan Center, right beside McDonald's. So once you get your Big Mac, come over there, come see us, and we will definitely, we can have a conversation about career. We can have a conversation about interests. We can look at your resume, all of that great stuff. So definitely take advantage of those services. Any final thoughts or questions from anyone? All right. Well, if not, I want to appreciate and thank you all for taking time out your busy day to attend this event. If there are any questions or anything that comes up, feel free to email me. I would be more than happy to assist you with anything. Again, if there's anything that you have questions for, if you want to hold your questions for a later time with our panelists, definitely you'll have their contact information to reach out. But yes, I hope you all have a great evening, and I hope you have a great week as well. And if anything comes up, just let me know.
Thanks all. Thanks for hosting. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.